For most of the 20th century, you were not allowed to own your telephone. I want to make sure that lands, because younger people flat out don't believe it when I tell them. Not phones were expensive. Not most folks chose not to. You were not permitted to own one. The telephone on the wall of your kitchen, the one your family answered for 40 years, it belonged to the phone company. You rented it, month after month, on the phone bill, for as long as you had a dial tone. And if you're of a certain age, you're nodding right now, because you remember. That black rotary phone in the hallway wasn't yours. It was Ma Belle's. It said so right on the bottom. Bell System property, not for sale. Now here's the part one find genuinely remarkable, and it's the reason this video exists. That one strange rule, the rule that made it impossible to buy a telephone, accidentally produced what might be the best-built machine ever placed in an American home. Because think about the arithmetic from the company's side. If the phone belongs to you, and it breaks, that's your problem. Maybe you even buy a new one, and somebody makes money on that. But if the phone belongs to the company, and it breaks, the company has to send a man to your house, on the company's dime, to fix the company's phone. Every breakdown cost them. So Bell did the only sensible thing. They built a telephone that would not break. The Western electric telephones of the 50s and 60s, the heavy black rotary sets, and later the colored ones, the wall phones, the princess phones on nightstands, were engineered the way you'd engineer something you never wanted to see again. The engineers at Bell Labs designed them to survive being knocked off a table onto a hard floor, over and over, for decades. The handsets could be dropped, yanked, slammed down by teenagers in a temper, and were, daily, in every house in America, and they just kept working. There are phones from that era, 60 and 70 years old, that will ring today if you plug them in. Not can be restored. Will ring. Today. You lived with one. You know. Nobody in your family ever said the phone's getting old. We should replace it. The phone did not get old. The phone outlasted the wallpaper, the car, sometimes the marriage. We spend a lot of time on this channel talking about things that were built to last. Here's the uncomfortable truth this story keeps pointing at. Things get built to last when the builder has to live with the consequences. The minute the breakdown becomes your problem instead of theirs, the engineering changes. The Bell telephone is what an appliance looks like when the maker pays for every failure. I'd invite you to look around your kitchen and ask how many of your machines were built under that arrangement. Anyway, if the phone did somehow act up, crackle on the line, a dial that stuck, a bell that wouldn't ring, you didn't haul it anywhere. You called the business office, and they sent the phone man. This story is about him. The one I sat with is named Bill. Bill hired on with the Bell system in 1962, at 19, and stayed 32 years. Installer and repairman. Climbed the poles in the early days. He'll show you the gaff scars on his shins, 60 years later, with something close to pride, then spent decades going house to house in the truck with the ladder on top. One of those houses, in 1965, belonged to a family with a daughter named Carol. Bill was there to hang a kitchen wall phone, a 40-minute job, and by his own admission, he made an afternoon of it. They've been married 59 years. He maintains, to this day, that the workmanship on that install was outstanding and the extra time was purely professional thoroughness. Carol, from the next room, when he tells it, he measured that wall 4 times. You may remember the visit. The phone man was one of those figures, like the milkman or the meter reader, who simply came into people's homes and thought nothing of it, and neither did you. He'd set his black case down in the kitchen. Have a look, maybe swap the cord or the whole set right there. No charge. It was Ma Belle's phone. Ma Belle fixed it. And your mother would offer him coffee, and about half the time he'd take it. Bill says you could read a whole town that way. He knew which houses had new babies, because they wanted the bell turned down. Which had teenagers, because they begged the parents for the long handset cord, the 25-footer, the one that reached the hall closet so a girl could shut the door on her conversation. Which older folks on his route would report trouble on the line that he could never quite find. In February, when what they mostly needed was somebody to sit in the kitchen for 20 minutes. He'd check the line anyway. Every time. Slow leak in the wiring, he'd say, and accept the coffee. I asked him if the company knew he did that. He said the company invented it. The phone men before him did the same thing, and the ones who trained them. And then there were the party lines. I have to spend a minute here, because half of you just smiled. For decades, especially outside the cities, your family didn't have its own line. You shared one, with 2, 4, sometimes 8 neighbors. Each family had its own ring pattern, 2 longs and a short, say, and you were only supposed to pick up on your ring. Supposed to. Everybody listened in. Everybody. It was the great unspoken sport of rural America. You'd lift the receiver soft and slow, palm over the mouthpiece, and catch up on the neighborhood. And everybody knew everybody listened, which produced its own kind of manners. Real news traveled in code, arguments got saved for in person, and courting couples developed the specific misery of romancing an audience. Bill swears he handled complaints where a neighbor reported the line always busy purely because she couldn't stand missing what was being said on it. If you grew up on a party line, I don't have to explain any of this. If you didn't, imagine the whole internet, except it's 4 families, 1 wire, and your grandmother. The party lines faded slowly. Rural lines held on into the 80s, a few into the 90s. Most people never noticed the day theirs went private. It's the kind of thing a country doesn't notice losing. And while we're remembering long distance, young people cannot be made to understand this. I've tried. A long distance call cost real money by the minute, and everybody in the house knew it. When the phone rang and somebody yelled it's long distance, the whole household snapped to attention like the president was calling. You got handed the receiver with instructions already in progress. Talk fast. Say hello to your grandmother. Don't dawdle. And there's a whole generation of grandmothers who shouted into the phone on long-distance calls, on the unshakable theory that Chicago was far away and the voice had to carry. But the best part, and if you did this, I want you to know Ma Belle forgave you decades ago, was the person-to-person trick. A person-to-person call cost extra, but here was the loophole. You only paid if your party actually came to the phone. So American families, being American families, invented a code. Your son drives off to Chicago. That night, the operator rings, a person-to-person call for your son. From your son. I'm sorry, he's not here. Everyone hangs up. Nobody pays a dime. And now you know the boy made it to Chicago safe, because he just told you, for free, through a phone company operator, using his own name as the message. The operators knew. Of course they knew. They heard it 50 times a night. Ma Belle officially frowned and unofficially shrugged. It may be the most widely practiced honest little scam in American history, and I'd bet money somebody watching this used it. Here's a practical thing about those old phones. While we're at it, that still matters, and younger viewers, this one's for you. The old copper landline didn't get its power from your house. It got it from the phone company's building, down the street, which had batteries the size of a room. That's why, when a storm knocked your electricity out, the phone still worked. Lights dead, furnace dead, and that rotary phone in the dark hallway had a dial tone, because Ma Belle's batteries were carrying it from miles away. Emergency planners love copper lines for exactly this reason, and some of them have spent 20 years quietly worrying as those lines come down. Nothing in your house does that anymore. When the power goes now, the cordless phone dies with the Wi-Fi. Something to think about the next time the weather turns. So what happened to the phone man? The short version. In 1984, after the biggest antitrust case in American history, the Bell system was broken up. And in the years around it, the rules changed. For the first time, you could just buy a telephone. Walk into a store, pay once, own it, done. And Americans did the math. Rental fees added up to plenty over the years, and bought their own phones by the millions. Perfectly sensible. I'd have done the same. But notice what changed with it. The new phones you could buy for $19.95 were not Western Electric tanks, and nobody was coming to fix them for free. And when they broke, you threw them out. The repair truck stopped coming. The phone man retired or moved into other line work. And the telephone, which had been the single most durable object in the American home, quietly joined everything else in the pile of things you replace. One more thing, and this one got me. The rented phones never entirely went away. When the breakup came, plenty of people, especially older folks, just never got around to canceling the lease. The rental line kept riding along on the bill, a few dollars a month, decade after decade. There have been news stories over the years about elderly customers discovered to be still paying rent on a rotary phone, some of them having paid, over a lifetime, thousands of dollars for a telephone that sold outright for less than $50. Somebody's mother. Somebody watching this may want to go look at a parent's phone bill this week. I mean that. Bill's retired now, of course, which is not the same as done. The collectors found him the way they found Gene the jukebox man and Frank the radio man. Old Western electric sets are a hobby now. People hunt them at estate sales, and they mail them to a small scattering of retired phone men around the country who clean the dials, rewire the cords, adjust the bells. Bill's workbench in the basement usually has 3 or 4 phones on it in various states of undress. Rotary phones, it turns out, still work on a lot of today's lines. Plug one in, and there's a fair chance it'll dial out. 70 years old, pulse by pulse. People buy them for grandkids, half as a toy and half as a history lesson, and Bill reports that every child does the same thing. Picks up the receiver, stares at the dial, and asks where the buttons are. Then you show them how it works, and they're gone. An hour of dialing, just to feel the wheel come back around under their finger. The day I visited, he'd just finished a 1958 Black Model 500, the classic, the one that sat in more American homes than any phone ever made. Original everything, cleaned and adjusted, cord rewired. He plugged it into the test jack on his bench, dialed his own house line upstairs, and let it ring. And that sound came out of it. The real bell, 2 pieces of actual metal, struck by a little hammer, the sound every American over 50 can hear in their head right now without my help. Not a recording of a bell. The bell. Upstairs, faintly, we could hear Carol answer. Bill picked up the handset, that heavy, cool weight in the hand. Another thing you don't forget, and said, "Just testing, hon." Same voice he's been calling for 59 years, on equipment he trusts. 67 years old, that phone. It'll do another 67 without breaking a sweat, and Bill knows it. And I think that's exactly why he keeps a few around the house, plugged in and working. Some machines quit on you. Ma Bell's never learned how. If stories like this stay with you, subscribe, and I'll bring you the next machine that refused to die.